Hi, I'm Tony Williams, and you're once again welcome to Knowing What I Now Know. As always, I like to start the post by first of all thanking and appreciating every single person who takes it upon themselves in one way or another to reach out to me or comment on my previous posts. So those who sort of liked it, reposted it, shared it, commented on it. For those of you who just called to check up on me, to encourage me, to advise me, and to tell me what you're expecting from the post. It's a heartfelt gratitude that I give onto you guys, because it's what you do that makes me continue and encourages me to do what I do. So big thank you going out from me to you. I want to say, don't stop doing what you're doing. As I always say, those little feedback, those little comments, those little likes, those little shares, they're fuel to my tank, and that's all I need to keep on doing what I do. So once again, thank you very much. All your advices, all your encouragement, all your comments, in ways in which I could sort of incorporate them into the post, I most certainly will when I have the time to, or when the opportunity does show up. So please don't think they go unnoticed. Also, thank you very much. And it's also a very good point to say, the way the blog is scheduled is for it to be quite intentional, and consistent. I like to use that word. But sometimes, having said I want it to be consistent, I'm not able to do it for one reason or another. So the best way to get in touch with me, or to stay in contact with me, or to probably know when I do put something out there, any form of material at all, be it a vlog, a post, article, a write-up, anything, because of social media, sort of shout out, mention, post, whatever it is. The easiest place just to follow me on any of my social media platforms. You can sort of like my Facebook page, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, you could follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Instagram. I think the only one that I don't use effectively really is Snapchat, but for all the other ones, LinkedIn, you can follow me on any of those things. These are all platforms that I do put my I cross post on, and you would always have a link to my website, which is www.tonywilliams.com, and where you can see all the backlog of videos, or any material that I've put out. So any materials that I actually put out actually does appear on my website. Just in case you don't know what platform to find it on, it's easy to find it on my website. So yeah, on the website you can also sign up for the newsletter, which is the weekly newsletter, which I send out to everyone who signed up there, and that goes exclusively to people who sign up on the website. And saying that, there's also this Knowing What I Now Know private group that I've set up on Facebook, where you have to be a member to sort of you have to sign up to be a member on it, I beg your pardon. And for that group, as I said last week, there's so much exciting things that I've got in stock for it, from getting like-minded people like myself who's been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, burned the t-shirt, and then transform their life around, whichever way it may be, and made a success out of it, to people who are already success, those who were born with silver spoons, those who are entrepreneurs, life coach, mentors, in all facets of life, in all areas of life, we have someone who's a representation of that part that would be a member of that group, or that would be able to speak into our lives from that group. So because most of what they are going to be saying, is probably heart-to-heart conversations, I decided that, it should be a members only group, so that everybody knows what they're signed up for and they know exactly what to get out of that. As I said last week, that group is not fully functional. I'm still putting all the bits and pieces together on it, but it's open for people to sort of sign up for membership on it. That link would be in the description below. I know I said that last week, but I uploaded the video without putting the link in the description below. But if that doesn't happen, you could also get it from my website, as I said, Tony Williams with an extra s.com. So and there's an opt-in form in there. If you just sort of look it up, you'll be able to find, if you just fill out the opt-in form, it would sort of transfer you to a page where you'll be able to fill in the link for the Facebook group. And that's it. And I also said last week that, you know, the book Power of Attention, that starts sale on the 1st of August. The first 2 chapters are going out to everyone who's signed up on it. So if you haven't received yours yet, be assured that it should be in your email box anytime from now. And that's just a token from me to you for showing all the love and appreciations and encouragement that you have given me. So yeah, having said that, let's dive right into it. So today I want to continue where I left off last week, which was how we should try to stop using our pigeon brains. For those of you who sort of missed last week's video, or perchance if this is the first time that you're seeing this video, for whatever reason, I would encourage you to sort of look on any of my social media platforms that I did mention earlier on and take a look at last week's video. Because what happened last week's video is I gave a scenario of being at home just one Saturday morning like this and having a pigeon fly through my balcony into my front room. And so this is just the background of what it was last week, where I was in a different part of the room and the pigeon just flew straight into the front room. And when I heard the sound of the pigeon, I went to the front room and saw the pigeon. On seeing me, the pigeon got scared and sort of agitated and decided to fly back out. But instead of it flying through the door that it came through, the 2 balcony doors that were wide open that it came through, because the whole wall facing the balcony is made out of transparent glass, it decided to fly to a corner where he thought, or he perceived, was an exit, not knowing that, you know, there was a shield of glass covering all that place. And what I did say is that the pigeon constantly just banged its head from one end of the glass to another, so we will fly up, seeing outside as it's you know, its freedom, not knowing that the glass is actually just a layer that, you know, that bars him between, or bars the pigeon from, you know, flying outside. So it would fly up, you know, I'll move closer, it will fly up, it will bang its head, try, you know, on the glass, thinking, you know, it's an exit. But, you know, because it is not using its brain correctly, all it had to do was sort of just step aside and see the 2 double doors that it came in with, and fly out through there. But because it was of the panic in which it saw me, because, you know, of the panic in which I shouted pigeon, the pigeon just got scared, lost all its sense of reasoning, thinking and direction, and the only exit route that it saw, you know, it just decided that unless he breaks through this window, you know, this is the only place that it seems like freedom for him. And I said, I mean, that's the long and short of what, you know, the analogy that I gave on last week's blog. But what I said is that most people think like that, you know, you would see a goal, you would see a vision right in front of you, you know, and you would only think in a one-directional sense of trying to achieve that vision or that goal. And, you know, even though there's glasses in front of you that, you know, are temporary obstacles, you would just want to make sure you crash through that glass to get to where you're going. Whereas if you take a step back and you look, you know, to the right, there's more, you know, or look at a different alternative, you know, you might just find the, you know, the double exit doors that lead you, you know, to your goal in a more easier way. And what happened last week was I started getting questions. So are you telling me that, you know, if I have a goal in front of me and I could see the goal, you know, and there's temporary obstacles there, that, you know, if that temporary obstacle, if it's a sort of presents itself as a barrier, you know, and I hit it a couple of times, or, you know, I should give up on it? And I said, like, my answer to the question is no. Which is what I want to address today. My answer to the question is no. I am not saying if you see a goal and you have temporary barriers and you keep on knocking your head on that barrier and it's not working, that you should give up on it like the pigeon, till, you know, I eventually came, picked the pigeon, you know, or captured the pigeon and let it out. That's a different side. But what I'm saying is, when you have a temporary barrier, you know, in front of you, step back, you know, and have another look. Because what's happening is you're hitting your head against the glass. Let's take that scenario of the pigeon, for instance. You're hitting your head, it's hitting its head against the glass, against the glass, against the glass. You've done that for like 20 minutes. It's obvious you're not moving nowhere from that thing. And that's where the phrase, you can't do the same thing and expect different results. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect something to change. In order to change something, you've got to actually change yourself, you know. And so what I explained is that also there is the part where, you know, you bang yourself on that, you know, or you're exhausted by failing. You're totally exhausted. You've exhausted everything. You've maximized your thinking cap. And that's where help comes in. That's why I said I came in as a form of help to the pigeon, and I captured it. And that's where help comes in for human beings. So help could be in form of mentorship, it could be in form of life coach, it can be in form of relatives, it could be in form of loved ones, it could be in form of books, it could be in form of empowering yourself, going to seminars, going to conference, reading, you know, expanding your brain, seeking knowledge. You know, that's the kind of help that could give you a different view or overview to the situation. And then you realize you're not in this by yourself, because whatever the situation is, one person would have had attempted that scene before, would have tried it before, you know, would have found himself in a similar situation before, and would be able to explain his or herself in a different light, which just to you, or just perchance, might sort of open up a different form of reasoning to you. And that's what I want to talk about today, how we reason when we're in these kind of situations. You know, the mind, which a lot of people mix up with the brain, and I'll tell you they're totally different, and I explain that to you in a moment. The mind in itself, you know, is like a circle, you know, and the mind is divided into sort of the conscious and the subconscious mind. You know, the conscious part of the mind, you know, that's the part that we reason with, that's the part that we think with, that's the part that knows everything, you know, that's the part that, you know, our intellect, our education, everything has developed. The subconscious part of the mind, that's the part that just accepts anything that is given to it. You know, that's the part that whatever the conscious mind impresses on it, that subconscious mind impresses on our brain, and our brain sort of activates the action, you know, for the rest of our bodies to do it. And I know it might sound a little bit complicated, so maybe I might just be a little bit able to explain it a little bit better with this little diagram. All right, so I hope you can see my whiteboard. Not something I use regularly, but for the purpose of this diagram, perhaps I'll sort of use it. Now, quick disclaimer, my drawings might be crap, so you have to pay proper attention. And then my spelling, you know, we didn't go to school. So here we go. Now, I'm talking about the mind and how we used our mind to reason. And, you know, that popular saying, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I always say, as a man continues to think in his heart, so he remains. But have you ever thought with your heart before? Nobody thinks with their heart. And we don't think with our brain either. Or maybe we do. We actually think with our mind. And the thoughts we have in our mind is what we impress onto our subconscious mind. And then our subconscious mind accepts it and impress it on our body. Let me explain this to you. Now, let's say, for instance, Tony, I was born as this baby here. Little baby Tony. And, you know, they say human beings, we're tripartite. So we're spirit, we're body, and we're soul. And I'll try and explain that later. So when I'm born on planet Earth, I'm definitely body, which is physical. Which is that. I'm spirit. Trying to make this drawing as best as possible. Yeah. I'm spirit and I'm soul. Soul, which is energy around us. So I don't want to draw that, but I could just do something like that. Energy. Alright. So this is me. Hope you follow this drawing. Tony. I've got 2 eyes. Well, I came to this world with 2 eyes. 1 nose, mouth, 2 ears, a torso, arms, legs. That's me. Maybe I should put Fine Boy Tony there. Nah, okay. And hair, this Tony hair, I was born to a natural family that was in existence before me, i.e. my mom and my dad. And they had their mom, their dad, you know, their generations, I can't fit in, and generations. So they had generations, my mom and my dad. So in their generation, they had tradition, where obviously black Africans, you know, and it goes for, so they had tradition, they had religion, they had morals, they had education, they had wealth. Well, I wouldn't say we had wealth, but we were well off, you know, and so many other factors. Sorry, there you go. Doesn't matter, it's a video, we'll get there, as long as you can see the screen, that's fine. So many other factors. So this is me, I'm explaining it again, this is me coming to the world as baby Tony. I came into a family of my mom and dad who had their own tradition, their own religion, their own morals, their own education, they were well off, they had their own generations. Basically, it's all called probably genetics. I think that's what it's called. But forgive me if I'm wrong, but you know, I think that's what it's called. Or generational traits. That might be better. So this is the part of me that's body. But remember, as much as my mom and dad made me, they are not my actual source. You know, I've got all parts of them here that will eventually, as I grow up, be impressed onto, oh sorry, I forgot to put here, a brain. That's why the brain's right at the top and not at the bottom of our foot. So that's a brain. I'm sure you can see it. It's messy, but you get the idea. And this is my subconscious. So that's my subconscious mind. This is one part of my mind. You can see that when I came to this world, my brain, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, everything was physical parts of my body. Now, any doctor would be able to use a powerful microscope to examine, you know, how good any of these physical parts of my body is operating, even my brain. But a doctor cannot examine how my mind is working. Alright, let me draw that properly. A doctor cannot examine how my mind is working when I was born. You know, he could only look at this bit when I'm born, his physical factors, and say, yep, you've had a bouncing baby boy. Physical factors. Said, yep, Mr. and Mrs. W, you've had a bouncing baby boy, which is me. Now, I'm going to try and do it one by one because I'm going upwards. Everything that is their sort of way of life when I'm born with an undeveloped mind and an undeveloped brain, because you can see the mind is open. That's why I said undeveloped. You know, for those who did cones and circles in school, you know how you draw a cone or half circle. Yeah, so if you were wondering what that is, that's a sort of my version of a half circle. So, undeveloped mind, undeveloped brain for baby Tony. Everything, even including languages. Languages. Everything, including languages. These, my parents could impress on me when I'm a baby. So if they had 5 languages in the house and they spoke 5 languages, as a baby, my brain, they would impress all of this on my subconscious mind, and my brain would be able to identify with it, articulate it, and eventually action it. But it gets to a stage where, because at this point here, oh no, this is a bit messy. I did say that at the start. At this point here, at this point here, as a baby, all this subconscious mind could do to develop is accept. That's very important that you understand that. All this conscious mind could do to develop is accept anything at all that my mom, my dad, my environment, the energy around me impresses on it. So if at this stage, as I'm developing my brain, remember this is an undeveloped brain, they start to impress on me that I'm a Muslim, they start to tell me things about the Quran, you know, because it's being impressed. Remember, impressed and accept. That means it's done regularly. My brain begins to send a signal to the rest of the body. Remember, we're talking about body here. You know? Now, gets to a stage where we begin to develop our own mind. And this is our intellect. Our reasoning, our beliefs. Oh, sorry, that's belief, ain't it? Our beliefs and all sorts of other, you know, points. And this is what we call our conscious mind. Right. See, before we get to our conscious mind, remember I draw this as an open plan. This is open because it will receive from here, this here, open mind, and equally it will receive from here. I've got to stand up now. It will receive from here. Is it making sense? It's scatty. If you follow the way I'm drawing it, you would understand. This is what I would call infinite intelligence. I hope it's showing. I think it is. I can bring this down a bit. Put my lid there so it doesn't fall. Yeah. You know, to find out what happens here, which is where most of us come from, we could go to science or theology. I think that's the spelling. Science being the study of, what can I say, it's the study of organized knowledge. And theology being the study of beliefs. I think it is. But anyway, I'll come to that. I do have a definition for it, I just can't. It's just too long-winded to write it out. Now, science would say, remember I drew here and I call this energy around us. So science would say energy, or if you ask a scientist, you know, where does man or power come from, you know, or intelligence come from, or the power of thoughts come from, a scientist would say all this is energy. And they would say, they would define energy, because they need to define energy as something that's infinite, and something that's infinite is limitless. So because they need to define energy as something that's infinite and limitless, they would say energy is 100% sort of everywhere. It's neither created nor destroyed. What else would they say? Or destroyed. They would say it's yeah, I did mention that. It's 100% present everywhere. It's neither created or destroyed. It's the cause and effect of its own self, which is literally the same as that. Cause and effect. And it's ever present in us, right? Sort of that, ever present. I thought just to say that. Present, ever present. It's a messy board, but you get the message. You have to follow me because it's a small board as well, and I'm not really a teacher. So scientists would say energy is 100% present everywhere. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's the cause and effect of its own self. It's ever present in every person and every environment, and it's all around us. So that's what they would define energy, or how they would define it in a limitless manner. Now if you go to a theologian and you say, what is power or intelligence? What do you think a theologian would tell you? Theologian would tell you power or intelligence is what they call God. And because they need to define God as limitless, how do you think they would define God? You got that right. Exactly the same way. God is 100% everywhere. He's neither created nor destroyed. He's the cause and effect of his own self. He's ever present everywhere. And he's in us 24/7. Science, theology, definitions, exactly the same. But what is different is that a scientist is studying the energy around us, energy around all these people, around me, baby Tony, as I grew up and as I grow up. A theologian is studying energy, power, that's within us. Oops. See, yeah, power that's within us, and it begins to flow. Absolutely brilliant. So they're studying, the theologian studying the power that's within us. Okay. So basically, this I could call infinite intelligence. This is where, remember what I called our conscious mind, what we think, what we reason, our intellect, you know, everything we aspire to be, everything we aspire to be, you know, all the money we want to earn, everything comes, you know, as a form of energy flowing in here into our conscious mind. Remember, as a man think. So is he. So this is what we're thinking with, our reasoning mind. Now, the relationship between the conscious mind and the infinite intelligence is what suppresses here, or impresses, is what impresses, I beg your pardon, onto our conscious mind. Our conscious mind, after getting the signal, remember I said our conscious mind could only accept, it doesn't differentiate. If you take from this infinite intelligence, if you channel down power of drug dealing in your conscious mind, remember you can't be a drug dealer as a baby. So once this conscious mind develops, if you take drug dealing, you channel it down, if you think about it too much, the subconscious mind accepts it. It could only accept because it's been impressed on it. It could only accept it, boom. It will give it to the brain as food. What would the brain do? It will start reenacting it as actions. And you know, we, through that action, affect the energy around us, and the energy around us affects its own like. If you take from here, you know, all the attributes that could make you successful in life, bring it to your conscious mind, impress it. You know, impressing means sort of perseverance. I'm sure spelling is a bit messy, but yeah. It means perseverance. You impress it, you keep on doing it, keep on doing it. After a while, subconscious mind will take it. It could only accept it, sends it to your brain. Your brain begins to action it to the rest of your body. Your body begins to reenact it to the energy around you. The energy around you begins to affect similar people. Another example. If you think in your conscious mind, because you're thinking with your conscious mind, you think, I want to be a prostitute. Infinite intelligence, it takes what you think, gives it back to you. You're thinking about it, as the Ghanaians say. Subconscious minds would take it, impress it, accept it, send it to the brain actions it, body reenacts it. That's just simple how it is. Remember, as a man thinks. As you continue to think, so you remain. That's why you hear people say, whatever the mind could conceive. Remember, they never said the brain. Whatever the mind can conceive. And where does it conceive it from? There. It could achieve. Because this gives it to him. And now he has the power to achieve it. Now, how often after he gets it in his conscious mind, he wants to impress it on his subconscious mind, really depends on if the brain will take it, action it to the body, and the body reenact it. So that's why they will say, oh, someone who, that's why For instance, they would say someone who wants to be a drug dealer or a criminal, or, you know, at first, when they get it from here, or they've thought about it and they get it into their conscious mind, they're not too happy about it. But then when they hang around these kind of people, the same kind of people, who impress it on their minds long enough, as they say, show me your friend and I'll show you who you are. Because they impress it long enough, the brain accepts it. The subconscious mind accepts it. Sorry, the subconscious mind accepts it, sends it to the brain reenacts it, and Bob's your uncle. So, how does this all work? That's just how it works in the spiritual, and I like to think natural realm. On our part itself, that's where we think. On our part itself, we need to, on our part itself, I'll bend down again. Yeah. We need to add faith and believe to make that action come to pass. You know, faith is what we use to take things from here. Because the mind is such a powerful tool that you could picture all the money you want in life. Remember what the brain could conceive, what the mind could conceive, what the mind could conceive, one could achieve. So you could picture everything that you want in life, and you could have a relationship with your infinite source, and you're picturing it even though you hadn't received it, but you're believing, you're impressing a belief, which is fate. You haven't received it, but you're impressing a belief on your subconscious mind that you would receive from here. What you're thinking here. Remember, science, energy. And after a while, when you believe it long enough, because the brain has received that impulse from the subconscious mind, the body starts to act as though you are what you're not. And eventually, the energy around you begins to work with the rest of the universe to make that happen. So that's how we think. That's literally how we think. So we don't have to bang our head on a glass wall totally till the glass wall breaks and we shatter our head as well. When we get to that point where we think there's no way out, one thing we could do, step back, look at the parts where we failed true, use our conscious mind to reaffirm or rethink the right process, or a different process. It's not a right process, we don't know the right process, but we know one process that's not working, and that's the process that is making us bang our head up against it. So think about another process that might work. If that can't work, get help. And I don't mean get help as in a therapist. Get knowledge, get understanding, study your failures. They say if you cannot access your failures, or you cannot study your failures, how would you be able to know how to convert them into success or stepping stones? You have to be able to study your failures, because failures in itself is a step close to success, but you have to be able to study it so you could find out how you could turn that failure around into a stepping stone for success. I hope that makes sense to someone, and I hope you get the message, and I hope from now on we would all stop using our pigeon brains. Until I speak to you again next week, have a fantastic day. Good night and God bless. Yeah!